of Kehinde Wiley's artwork about race, identity, and visibility. Um, Wiley is an American artist who is known for his detailed and large scale portraits of classical European paintings that feature black men and women. He is known for using black men and women in his paintings to portray the strength and dignity of black identity. He challenges the traditional Western art narratives by having black men or women whom he found meeting them on the street or from casting calls pose for his artwork. In this artwork, he glorifies and reimagines black individuals as the European elite and upper class. He introduces themes of historical black representation while elevating them to a higher power and respect. He uses vibrant color, intricate patterns, and rich compositions which challenge normalcy. And Wiley's art reclaims and contextualizes black portrayal by addressing themes through race, identity, and visibility. Wiley was born in Los Angeles, California in 1977 and was raised by his mom in South Central Los Angeles. His mom encouraged him to get into art at an early age, and enrolling in art classes helped him stay engaged in his artwork and away from danger in their neighborhood. At age 12, Wiley and his twin brother spent time in Russia in a conservatory art program where he was exposed to portraiture. This experience helped deepen his interest in art and develop a passion for portraits. After his experience in Russia, he continued to follow an art path and attended Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. Then, after high school, he went to San Francisco Art Institute, where he completed a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and then he earned a Master of Fine Arts from Yale University. His early exposure to art and classical techniques played a crucial role in shaping his artistic vision. In addition, the creation of historical and modern imagery became a feature of his style, which allowed him to challenge tradition and create a new space for black identity in fine art. Particularly concerning the historical discrimination of black people in Western portraiture, Wiley's work dives into and addresses issues of race, identity, and representation. Wiley reclaims and retrieves power and visibility through art, placing individuals in their daily lives into arrangements that have long been considered for the elite. His paintings are constantly featured and very well liked, particularly after he was commissioned to paint a portrait of the United States President Barack Obama in 2018. Wiley cares about his painting skills and involvement at his studios located in Lagos, Nigeria, Dakar, Senegal, and New York. BlackRock in Senegal, where he resides, supports intercultural corporations and serves as a platform for artists on innovative initiatives outside of the Western art tradition. Wiley is considered a legend in the art world who deconstructs old history and creates portraits that are readable by future generations due to his ability to combine historical forms of art traditions. One of Wiley's most popular artworks interprets the classical European art of Napoleon. His painting of Napoleon leading the army over the Alps is a direct response to Jacques Louis David's Napoleon crossing the Alps in 1801. That piece depicted the French emperor as a powerful and heroic leader who guides his army through the mountains. Wiley's version is a young black man who is a central figure dressed in streetwear and replaces the image of Napoleon. The transformation is bold and challenges the historical narrative that reclaims power by inserting black identity in a place where it was absent from history. With a Baroque style background in Wiley's Napoleon leading the army over the Alps is very striking. The backdrop is rich with patterns and decorative elements, creating a modern identity that is modern and urban. The confident expressions shown on the man's face are a mimic of the original artwork, which focuses on themes of strength, leadership, and visibility. Wiley replacing the historical Napoleon with a black man in a position forces the audience to redefine the notions of power, heroism, and representation in Western art. Furthermore, this aligns with Wiley's artistic mission of challenging the perspective and reclaiming the traditional historical images. By doing this, he asks who is deemed worthy of being represented and defines the act of black bodies being excluded in Western portraits. This painting shows that black individuals belong in art history and they deserve to be celebrated with the same respect as European figures who have long dominated the arts. Ultimately, Napoleon leading the army over the Alps demonstrates Wiley's ability to combine the past and present using the arts as a social tool for cultural change. He positions the modern black figure and inserts them into mainly white dominated spaces, redefining the narrative, serving a visual dialogue, and pushing boundaries of representation so that black voices are no longer ignored. Wiley's painting of the officer of hussars has an attention-seeking interpretation of Theodore, the officer of the Chasseurs commanding a charge from 1812. He replaced the traditional military figure of a white European man with a modern black man. By doing this, he created a powerful representation of Western portraits and reclaimed its power for black individuals. Also, the dramatic pose, strength, leadership, and authority depict the original painting as a white officer standing in the dramatic pose. Wiley's version changes and disrupts racial dynamics by positioning a black man as the main focal point of the piece. For the officers of hussars, Wiley used vibrant decorative backgrounds, which are the noticeable aspects and have become a signature of his work. He created contrast and patterns that can be seen from the swirling with the artworks from the subject's streetwear, which shows the tension between contemporary black culture. The subject's posture appears to be confident in his dominance, or that has dominance that is often unrepresented. In addition, he challenges the racial hierarchies and builds a new perception of black identity. This painting also explores masculinity and strength and challenges the stereotypes of the figure's commanding pose. He portrays the leader in full control of this space, and this aligns with Wiley's vision of redoing historical narratives. In this painting, Wiley reclaims history and provides a new story to society by building and rebuilding art history. Overall, he places black individuals as a focal point and pays tribute to them. Wiley's Judith and Holofernes reinterprets a powerful biblical story of Judith beheading the general Holofernes. Wiley's version represents the piece by replacing the European heroine with a black woman, showing viewers that the historical depictions of gender positioning black women in a role always consist of white European figures. With the confident commanding attendance of the black female subject in Judith and Holofernes, she stands tall with the head of Holofernes, while Wiley switches it with the head of a white woman, reversing the racial dynamics and traditional styles of portraits or portrayals. The views are forced to change their rhetoric by a way of race and gender dominance in art history. In conventional European portraiture, black women are considered passive subjects. However, Wiley involves them in his painting, reclaims a history of empowerment and breaks the standards. He presents a fresh viewpoint and representation, and most importantly, raises issues regarding the history and who is entitled to be shown as powerful. Wiley continues to use Holofernes and Judith to recontextualize Black identity in Western art. By placing Black characters in previously unoccupied spaces, he creates a more diversified visual history with disrupting and reducing dominance in powerful art traditions. By altering the way Black women are portrayed in his art, he provides a broad critique of the earlier power structures that ruled the art world for many years. Wiley's creation of Randerson Romaldo Cordero recontextualized classical portraiture through Black identity. His painting is part of Wiley's The World Stage Brazil series and showcases a young Afro-Brazilian man in a powerful pose, which reflects the recurring themes throughout his works. Randerson Romaldo Cordero, who is a subject, stands in confidence with his body language showing strength and grace. The details shown in the subject's clothing focus on realism and artistic conventions. The use of floral backgrounds, which are typical in his paintings, contrasts with the subject. Cordero interacting in ways that show vibrancy and empowerment. Wiley created a powerful tribute in this painting due to using a broad social-political context, race, and visibility. This painting identifies an Afro-Brazilian man as a symbol that allows viewers to reflect on Brazilian culture and history. One of Wiley's most important pieces of work is his oil-on-canvas portrait of former President Barack Obama. This piece is considered one of the most iconic examples of reworking the Black image in Western art. Wiley challenges the historical narratives by merging traditional portrait techniques with modern subject matter. By placing Black characters in previously vacant spaces and reclaiming their place within these valued traditions. Instead of portraying Obama in a conventional commanding position, Wiley places him seated in front of a colorful, flowery background that references Obama's culture and personal identity. Obama's Kenyan ancestry is represented by the background's African purple-blue flowers. The jasmine flowers represent Hawaii, where he spent time growing up. Wiley used these flowers to represent the president's home personally and politically. In this portrait, Obama's journey is bright together with components of his identity, heritage, and power. Portrayals of previous presidents have been done by other artists who appear stiff and formal. However, Wiley's portrait of Obama is shown with him leaning forward in genuine attitude that offers a feeling of accessibility and involvement. This creative, intimate feel and lively decision give the picture of Obama a distinct style of leadership and connection to the audience. Furthermore, their frequently strong artistic approach Wiley uses produces elaborate backgrounds and dramatic contrasts between the subject and their surroundings. The vivid colors of the painting and complicit patterns are reflected, highlighting the cultural means incorporated into the artwork as well as the person being shown. Wiley reclaims the artistic narrative by depicting a Black leader within the classical portraits. The painting of Obama portrays determination, the affirmation of Black identity, and cultural pride rather than giving a generic portrayal of a president. Visibility and representations of culture context encourage a wider discussion, encouraging viewers to reconsider past power relations and the representation of race in art. This is a great example of Wiley's artwork and how Black artists can reclaim and change the narrative by using their artistic presence in rewriting history through race and identity. In this painting, Obama is the president, representing a role which creates a visual statement about how representation is changing and the importance of diversity in the world of art. In Wiley's artworks, the portraiture of African Americans is a common concept with themes of repair, reclamation, and redemption. His paintings purposely place African Americans in poses that they would historically not be seen in, such as European nobility and religious icons. His art intentionally challenges historical representations of power and race in portraiture, typically diving into identity, history, and empowerment. Other Black artists such as Faith Ringgold and Blakely Gendrick have created portraits that challenge stereotypes and celebrate individuality. Themes of redemption are used to celebrate African Americans and elevate them to a position of strength and dignity. By doing this, he rewrites a narrative of his paintings to include the marginalized population through pride and empowerment versus the history of exclusion. Wiley recontextualizes classical art by using traditional themes, techniques, and poses from European portraiture and then uses a modern framework that celebrates underrepresented identities. He reclaims the identity of Black individuals who historically were excluded from European portraits or represented in a non-powerful role. He also combined classical techniques and used patterned backgrounds that represent street culture and African designs to show viewers the contrast from the past to the present. Overall, he includes diverse identities and changes the historical narrative of African Americans. He also adds power to each of his paintings by adding elements that are traditionally considered a symbol of privilege, such as regal poses that portray military leaders, nobles, or a king. Also, for his background, he makes them ornate and patterned to represent important history figures or symbols to connect to history. Kehinde Wiley's artworks reimagine classical portraiture to feature marginalized identities such as Black individuals. He places them in traditional power poses and challenges European portraiture from European artists that dominated art history. Overall, he reclaims space in art and promotes Black identity because historically they were underrepresented. His artworks create inclusive art and represent diverse individuals. He does this because he is driven to change historical art and address the lack of Black representation, to promote cultural inclusion and have viewers talk about race and history, with the hopes of changing the historical narrative. His goal is to celebrate diversity and create conversations that are meaningful when viewing his art.